Have you ever looked at history and wondered how something so tragic could ever happen? Between 1915 and 1917, over 1 million Armenians lost their lives in what we now call the Armenian Genocide. Genocide is the deliberate and systematic attempt to destroy a group of people based on who they are, such as their ethnicity, religion, or nationality. The term was formally defined after World War II and shaped by the horrors of the Holocaust, leading to the Genocide Convention. It goes beyond individual acts of violence. It includes coordinated efforts like mass killings, forced displacement, and creating conditions meant to erase an entire community. From a moral and biblical perspective, genocide represents one of the clearest violations of human dignity, as it denies the inherent value and worth of people created in the image of God. Families were torn apart, voices were silenced, entire communities erased. Now pause for a second. I want you to think about this question. What makes a human life valuable? Not popularity, not followers, not status. The Bible gives a different answer. In the very beginning, in Genesis chapter 1:27, it says that every human being is created in the image of God. That means every face you see carries something divine. So when genocide happens, it's not just violence, it's the rejection of God's image in a person. Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen someone get made fun of and stayed quiet? Have you ever laughed along, even when it didn't feel right? Because genocide doesn't start with mass violence, it starts with small moments of dehumanization. A joke, a label, an us versus them. And slowly, hearts grow cold. In the Bible, after Cain killed his brother, God said something chilling. The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. That means injustice is never silent to God, even if it is to us. So here's another question. What do you do when you see something wrong? Because Proverbs 31:8 says, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Not later, not when it's comfortable. Now the Armenian people suffered not only because of those who acted, but also because of those who looked away. And if we're honest, sometimes we do the same. We scroll past pain. We ignore the outsider. We stay quiet to fit in. But God calls us higher. There's a whole book in the Bible called Lamentations. It's literally people crying out after destruction. Why would God include that? Because grief matters. Remembering matters. Let me ask you, when was the last time you actually let your heart feel someone else's pain? Not just that sad, but truly sat with it. Because remembering tragedies like the Armenian Genocide isn't about staying stuck in the past. It's about shaping who we become. In Exodus, God tells his people to remember their suffering in Egypt, so they would never treat others the same way. That's powerful. Memory becomes responsibility. And then Jesus Christ tells a story, the Good Samaritan. In that time, Samaritans were seen as outsiders, less than... But in the story, the outsider becomes the hero. Why? Because love is not about who is like you. It's about who needs you. So here's the real question. Who is the outsider in your life right now? At school? On your team? Online? And what would it look like to choose love instead of silence? Because the biggest lesson from the Armenian Genocide is this. When we stop seeing people as human, we start justifying things that should never be justified. So we have to stay awake, spiritually, emotionally, morally. We have to notice, we have to speak, we have to care. Let's do something together right now. I want you to repeat this in your heart. God, open my eyes to see people the way you see them. Give me courage to speak when it's hard, and never let my heart grow numb to the pain of others. Because never again is not just a phrase, it's a responsibility. And it starts with you. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe Sight Kids and Niños con Vision.